The mid-afternoon sun in Ilere was not merely hot, it was a physical weight, pressing down on the acres of cassava and yam ridges that stretched towards the horizon. In the middle of the field, Tunde Adebayo stood shirtless, glistering with sweat, staring at a massive iroko tree that had fallen across the main access road during the previous night storm. It would take a tractor and 5 men to move it. Tunde looked around. The road was empty. The only sound was the distant hum of crickets and the rustle of the harmattan wind through the dry leaves. He sighed, wiped his forehead, and walked to the center of the trunk. He didn't brace himself. He didn't grunt. He simply placed his hands under the rough bark and lifted. The tree, weighed several tons, rolls into the air as if it were made of styrofoam. With a gentle shove, he tossed it 20 feet into the bush, clearing the path.
I told you to wait for the tractor!
Tunde froze. He returned to see his father, Baba Adebayo, standing by the old Toyota pickup, his face itched with a mixture of pride and terror. Baba Adebayo was a man of the earth, a farmer who had found a child in a crater during the night of the fire rain 20 years ago. The road needed clearing, Baba, Tunde said, grabbing his shirt.
The distributors from Lagos will be here in an hour. And if one of the villagers had seen you...
His father whispered, closing the distance between them. If they saw Tunde, the quiet boy who helps in the choir, throwing trees like stones,
they would call you a wizard. They would fear you. But worse, the government would come.
Tunde looked down at his hands. They looked normal, calloused from farm work, dark and strong, but he knew what lay beneath the skin.
I'm tired of hiding, Baba. I can do so much more. You do enough. Your time will come, Tunde. But Ilere is a small place. Small places have big ears. Now, get in the truck. Your mother has made pounded yam. Yes, father.
Ilere was a quiet town in Ogun State, known only for the strange green metal rocks found in the soil, rocks that made the crops grow unnaturally fast and sometimes did strange things to the people who stayed too close to them. Tunde didn't know where he came from, but he knew he wasn't from Ilere. The bridge over the Ogun River was narrow, a relic of the colonial era that had seen better days. Tunde was riding his bicycle from the market, a bag of peppers balanced on the handlebars. Suddenly, the roar of an engine shattered the peace. A silver Porsche, moving at a speed reckless for such a road, tore past him. Tunde recognized the car. It belonged to Damola Balogun, the son of Chief Balogun, the billionaire industrialist who owned the fertilizer plant on the edge of town. Damola had been sent to Ilere to manage the plant, a punishment from his father for his wild life in London. Tunde watched as the Porsche swerved to avoid the stray goats. The car clipped the railing. The rusted metal groaned and snapped. In slow motion, the silver car cartwheeled off the bridge, plunging toward the dock, swirling waters 50 feet below. Tunde didn't think, he moved. He abandoned the bicycle and sprinted. He moved so fast the world blurred into streaks of green and brown. He leaped from the bridge, his body cutting through the air faster than gravity should allow. He hit the water a second before the car did, diving deep. Underwater, the Porsche was sinking fast, the driver unconscious. Tunde gripped the bumper. The metal crumpled like paper under his fingers. He planted his feet in the riverbed mud and pushed. On the surface, a fisherman watched in disbelief as the car erupted from the water, thrown onto the muddy bank as if rejected by the river goddess herself. Tunde dragged Damola out of the wreckage. The rich boy was coughing up water, his designer suit ruined. He looked up, eyes wide, seeing Tunde standing over him, completely dry despite having just been submerged. How? Damola gasped, clutching his chest. I was dead. You were on the bridge. You hit a shallow patch. Tunde lied, his voice steady. though his heart hammered. You got lucky. Damola stared at the dent in the bumper, a perfect mold of 2 hands. He looked back at the farm boy, a dangerous curiosity ignited in his eyes. 2 weeks had passed since the accident. An uneasy friendship had formed between Tunde and Damola. The heir to the Balogun Empire was fascinated by the simple farm boy, who read philosophy books and spoke with a wisdom beyond his years.
You need to get out of this village, Tunde.
Damola said, pouring a glass of expensive scotch in his modern glass-walled office overlooking the factory.
You have a presence. You could run this town. I'm happy with the farm. Understood.
Tunde replied, though he felt a sudden wave of nausea. He looked around the office. On Damola's desk was a display case containing a jagged, glowing green rock, a piece of the meteors that had fallen years ago. The people of Ilere called it Okuta Aje, witch stone. Tunde's knees buckled. His veins felt like they were filled with battery acid. He stumbled, gripping the edge of the desk, his skin turning clammy and pale. Tunde, Damola stood up, concerned. Are you okay? Is it the air conditioning?
The rock. Please move.
Tunde gasped, pointing at the case. Damola looked at the rock, then back at Tunde. He saw the sheer agony in Tunde's eyes, the eyes of a boy who could lift trees but was being brought to his knees by a stone. Damola closed the lead-lined box. Instantly, the color returned to Tunde's face. He stood up, breathing hard. Allergies, Tunde lied weakly. Damola didn't smile. He sat back down, tapping his fingers on the desk. He was a man of science and logic, and he knew that allergies didn't make a man collapse at the sight of a meteor rock. Interesting, Damola murmured. Very interesting. Meanwhile, across town, Zainab, Tunde's childhood friend and secret love, was investigating the local clinic. People who worked in the meteor-rich mines were getting sick, but some were also changing, developing abilities, and Tunde was the only one who seemed immune to everything except the rocks themselves. The annual Yam Festival had filled the Ilere market with vibrant colors, talking drums, and the smell of roasting meat. Tunde walked with Zainab, enjoying the rare moments of normalcy.
You've been spending a lot of time with the Balogun boy. Be careful, Tunde. Giants don't play with ants without stepping on them eventually.
He's lonely, Zainab, and he wants to improve the town.
Tunde defended. Suddenly, a scream cut through the festival. A man hulking and crazed was tearing through the market stalls. It was Mr. Okafor, a former miner who had been exposed to a massive vein of the green rock. His skin had turned a grey granite-like texture. He was screaming about the voices in the heads. Police officers fired their rifles, but the bullets flattened against Okafor's stone-like skin. He picked up a generator and hurled it into a crowd.
Run!
Tunde shouted to Zainab, pushing her towards safety. Tunde ducked into an alleyway and scanned the chaos. Okafor was charging toward a bus full of children. Tunde couldn't hide anymore. Not today. He blurred into motion. Just as Okafor raised a fist to smash the bus, Tunde caught it. The shock wave of the impact cracked the pavement beneath them. Okafor looked shocked.
Who are you?
He growled.
Someone who wants you to stop.
Tunde said calmly. Okafor swung. Tunde dodged, moving faster than the eye could follow, delivering a precise strike to the nerve cluster in Okafor's neck. But the man was too durable. Tunde had to use more strength. He grabbed Okafor by the belt and collar, spun him around to generate momentum, and threw him upward high into a pile of empty cargo containers stacked near the edge of the market. The containers collapsed, burying the threat. Tunde vanished before the dust settled, but from the balcony of the town hall, Damola Balogun lowered his binoculars. a cold smile playing on his lips. The Adebayo farmhouse was tense. Baba Adebayo slammed his fist on the table. "I heard what happened at the market," he shouted. "People are talking about the spirit that moves like the wind. Tunde, you are exposing yourself." "I saved those children, Baba," Tunde argued, his voice rising. "Am I supposed to let them die just to keep your secrets?" "It is your secret, Tunde, and it is for your survival," Baba sighed, looking older than his years. He walked to the floorboards in the living room and pried one loose. He pulled out a metallic, hexagonal key with symbols that looked like nothing on earth. "We found this in the ship you came in," Baba said quietly. "It glowed yesterday. Something is coming, Tunde, or someone. You are not just a strong boy from Ilere. You are something else." Later that night, Tunde went into the Balogun estate to confront Damola, sensing his friend was digging into his past. He found Damola in the study, surrounded by old newspapers about the firing. "You are investigating my family," Tunde said, standing in the doorway. "I'm investigating the truth," Damola replied, not looking up. "The car accident, the market. You are a miracle, Tunde. Imagine what we could do together. We could rule this country. We could cure diseases with your blood. We could stop wars." "I'm not a science project, Damola. I'm not a weapon." "Then what are you?" Damola stood up. "The friendship evaporating, replaced by obsession. Because you certainly aren't human." Tunde turned to leave. "I'm your friend. Don't make me your enemy." The rainy season had been brutal, but this was different. A massive explosion rocked the foundations of Ilere. Damola's father, Chief Balogun, had secretly ordered illegal blasting near the foundation of the Ilere Dam to access a massive deposit of the green metal rock. He had miscalculated. The dam wall, already weakened by age, cracked. Detailed alarms began to wail across the valley. Millions of gallons of water were about to wipe Ilere off the map. Tunde heard the crack from miles away. His super hearing picked up the groan of the concrete and the screams of the workers. He looked at his mother, Mama Adebayo. She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Go, save them." Tunde sprinted. He didn't bother with the roads. He cut through the forest, moving at supersonic speeds. The sonic boom sounded like thunder over the village. He arrived at the dam. The breach was widening. Water was jetting out with enough pressure to cut steel. No human could stop this. Tunde saw a massive steel floodgate that had been left uninstalled on the bank, a slab of metal weighing 50 tons. He jumped down into the mud, right in the path of the spraying water. The force hit him like a freight train, pushing him back. He dug his heels in, gritting his teeth, his eyes glowing with a faint heat vision he was only just learning to control. He grabbed the massive steel plate. He screamed, a sound of pure raw power, and lifted the plate. He slammed it against the cracking concrete wall. The water pressure fought him, but he held it. It was the dam now. "Weld it!" Tunde screamed to the terrified workers on the ridge. "Seal it now!" While Tunde held the weight of the water, his body shaking, the workers scrambled to emergency, weld the plates in place. For 20 minutes, Tunde Adebayo held back the apocalypse. The water receded. The town was safe. The sun was rising over Ilere, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Tunde sat on the roof of his barn, watching the sun rise. His clothes were torn, his body exhausted, but he felt a strange sense of peace. He had stopped hiding. He hadn't revealed his face clearly to everyone, but the town knew they had a guardian. A black G-Wagon pulled up the dirt driveway. Damola stepped out. He looked up at Tunde. The dynamic had shifted permanently. They were no longer peers. "My father has been arrested," Damola cried out. "Negligence. I'm taking over the company." "Are you going to be like him?" Tunde asked, jumping down, floating the last few inches before his boots touched the dust. Damola adjusted his sunglasses. I'm going to be better. Greatness requires sacrifice, Tunde. You saved the town, but you've changed the rules of the world. I have to be ready for whatever comes next. I'll be watching, Tunde said. I know, Damola replied. He got back in the car and drove away, leaving a cloud of red dust. Tunde turned to see Baba and Mama Adebayo standing on the porch. Baba held a bunch of clothes, a blue fabric he had found in the ship years ago, and the red blanket that Tunde had been wrapped in. You outgrew the farm a long time ago, son, Baba said softly. The world is big. Lagos, Abuja, the world beyond. They will need you. Tunde took the fabric. It felt warm. I'm not leaving yet, Baba. Ilere is my home, but I'm ready. Tunde looked up at the sky. He crouched low, the red dust swirling around him with a burst of energy that took the ground. He launched himself into the air, higher than he had ever gone before. He wasn't just jumping anymore, he was flying. Above the clouds, looking down at the patchwork of Nigeria below, Tunde Adebayo smiled. The son of the soil had become the man of steel.